All right. And we'd like to hear from you. What do you think about the 3 ballot questions, particularly the one we're here to discuss this afternoon? Question 3, to roll back the Massachusetts state sales tax from the 6.25% that it's been at since they raised it almost 12 months ago, and roll it back to 3%, where it was about 20 years or so ago.
I think it was in the 70s.
So 30 years.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 30 years. And I think the
I don't
other
remember
important
when it
thing
was 3%.
to remember is, let's assume that it passes.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the arguments that I constantly hear is, oh, well, what's the point? The legislature will just ignore it, repeal it, et cetera, like they did with the income tax.
Can they do
and
that?
That's, oh, sure. And I'll get into that. But I think the first thing you want to remember is the income tax used to be 5.95%.
That's right.
And Carla Howell, they got behind, the Center for Small Government got behind the movement to get it a ballot question to reduce it to 5%. Mm-hmm. It went from 5.95 to 5.6 immediately.
Right.
Then it went from 5.6 to 5.3, which is where it is now.
Right.
Now, it's only that last 0.3% that the state legislature has failed to follow the will of the people and kept it at 5.3%. Mm-hmm. But just that, that 0.65% has saved taxpayers in Massachusetts hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
But yes, the legislature, we passed, there was a ballot initiative 10 years ago to go to publicly funded elections. Mm-hmm. Well, it passed. The legislature accepted it, but then they didn't allocate any money to fund it. Mm-hmm. And then a couple of years later, when no one was looking, they repealed it and just said, you know what? We understand it was the will of the people, but we're your Massachusetts state legislature, and we're going to ignore. And we know exactly.
Better. And Brad, this is the we were talking earlier about the Tea Party and Sarah Palin and all this fear with respect to the upcoming midterm elections. But there is an air of anger and distrust across America, across race, ethnic, social, political lines, where people are just angry at the way government has been appearing to bail out the big banks and the big corporations, and then talk about stimulus for Joe average taxpayer, but we're not seeing it. We're not feeling it. We're all still hurting. And then to hear that we can have a ballot measure like this and then the legislature can just ignore it, I have a problem with that, and I think people would have a problem with that.
Well, I think a lot of the fear comes from just the average person who is, maybe, if they're lucky, they're struggling to hold on to their job. Certainly fear from people who have lost their job. They may be running out of their unemployment benefits. And then people are smart enough to go, you know what? These, whether it's at the state level or the federal level, this level of spending is just unsustainable.
Right.
We just can't keep taking more and more from the people to feed another government program, bail out another automobile company. I mean, I think GM and Chrysler are perfect examples where they could have just gone bankrupt.
That's right.
Companies do every day.
That's right.
That doesn't mean they stop making cars. That doesn't mean somebody doesn't come in, pick up the pieces,
change
make
something
it,
around.
Exactly. But what was it? It was, it was basically a bailout of, the auto workers. So, I think up and down the board, people are saying, people say, I don't mind paying taxes, but I want to get my money's worth.
Right.
And I don't think people are convinced that they're getting their money's worth right now.
And, Brad, there is another issue on top of all of that, especially here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And I talk to people all over the country constantly. I have one of the largest online communities of people of color in the world. People still think of this state as Taxachusetts. Now, I've been watching Mitt Romney in the news lately. I call him Mitt the Sheet, and the sheet is not on the bed. I'm talking about another word. Before he left office, he pushed through in our Commonwealth the first in the nation health care mandate or health insurance mandate, which affected my job. My employer had to immediately, and it was through me, I did it, I crafted a Section 125 plan and offered health insurance to all of our employees. My employer pays half of it, although they're not required to. They're only required to pay 35% or whatever. But the average worker had to pay the rest. Everybody in Massachusetts has to have health insurance, which means that's to many people that's like a tax. And if you don't pay it when you file your taxes at the end of the year and you're going to have a refund, the state takes it.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's. I think it starts at about $300 and moves up from there if you at any time during the year.
$1,400 right now.
Right.
Because this is the third year of the law.
And we're also we're spending, I think, about an extra somewhere between $700 and $900 million a year. Mm-hmm. And the problem with what I call Romney Care, and I think it's built into our national health care reform,
sure is
it doesn't create any more hospitals. It doesn't create any more doctors. It doesn't create any more clinics. Mm-hmm. And it's economics 101. The way you reduce the price of something is by increasing the supply,
right,
not by increasing the demand with no increase in supply.
Right.
And the other thing is basically what the Health Care Connector has done is simply gotten more people signed up for Medicaid and government-paid-for health care. Mm-hmm. Other states have used their sort of healthcare connector to actually increase competition and have insurance companies, possibly with the assistance and some subsidies from the government, but basically having insurance companies providing health insurance options for specifically most underserved communities, which are people who work for small businesses.
Right. Well, this has hurt a lot of Massachusetts taxpayers. It's hurting a lot of businesses. It's hurting the Massachusetts economy. And then on top of that, we have the sales tax increases, the personal income tax being as high as it is. I don't see why anyone in their right mind would not vote yes on question 3 to keep some of their money and tell the government you have to live within your means too. We have a call on the line. Good afternoon, caller, and welcome to the show.
Hi, great topic today.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of torn only because I work in the field of adult basic education.
Yes, sir.
And when I look at my paycheck, I kind of agree with we're paying too much and the spending is going on a little too much.
Yes, sir.
But I advocate for the field of adult basic education, and our constituents who are learning to read and write, and we help them to get high school diplomas and get into the job market or go into higher education. I think that's a great investment when you invest into people, and we're taking people who may have not have been taxpayers at all, and we've been supporting them, and now they're becoming taxpayers and adding to the revenue, and we could do that without increasing taxes by increasing how many people out there are working.
Yes, sir.
And
yes, sir.
So, but we get cut. We just got cut this year. We got cut last year, and I think that's a really bad choice and unfortunate decision that the state legislature makes when we're going to spend on them one way or the other, and what it costs for someone to go through our program. We could take someone who's been in the public schools for 12 years and can't read and write, and we could teach somebody who can't read and write at all between 2 and 4 years to get them the high school diploma.
Right.
And,
well,
and we're saving a lot of money by doing that, but they're cutting us. So I'm really concerned about if we do cut taxes, how do we still show the legislature the wisdom of supporting adult-based education?
Well, Brother Justin, what you were saying and the way your program has accomplished what it has accomplished, that is making literate people in a sixth of the time that the public school system does, shows that they have been wasting our money. And so maybe we need to, like Sarah Palin and all those folks and these angry Americans are saying, throw all the bums out on Beacon Hill and put people in there that are going to be fiscally responsible and to end some of the waste and mismanagement.